roller initiatives. Toronto is looking at doing 30-kilometer-an-hour residential. We could do that here as a pilot project as well. We need to start taking some serious measures in order to make the penalties stiffer. If we lower the speed limit and add enforcement, you're going to find some people losing their cars. And I'm pretty sure that it's only going to take 1 or 2 people in your community, because most of these are locals, as you've said to me, losing their cars, losing their license for a while, to figure out that they need to be respecting the law that all the rest of you are. Thank you very much.
I've been out door knocking since June, and I have heard one constant thing right across the board. Everybody has an issue with excess speeding. And this is also one of my own personal passions. I do believe that each neighborhood has their own prescription. What that is, I think that's a collaborative approach that we do take with communities and with city staff as well. One thing I have been showing some people from door to door is the concept and the idea of trying something innovative, some traffic calming measures, perhaps pilot projects with new things that they're trying out in places like Portugal, like 3D paint when it comes to crosswalks. Things like that, starting to think a little bit out of the box, as they say, and as well over areas. Some areas, for example, are ripe for some additional studies when it comes to stop signs, etc. And also, there are studies that do show that street narrowing does tend to slow traffic down. So, is there one prescription? Is there one answer to that? No, I don't believe there is, but I do believe that there is a real demand now, not in the future, now, to get ahead of this before we end up in real problems, especially with the Dixie interchange that's going in, with Inspiration Lakeview, the West Village, etc. Thanks.
Well, I certainly can't disagree with anything that my colleagues have said here today. We are hearing this at the door, and we're hearing it from you, but these are the streets that you live on. So it's important that we hear from you as to what measures you're willing to support on your street to deal with these issues. So if it's speed humps, Mississauga recently amended its bylaw to allow for speed humps to be installed on streets, whether it's looking at certain intersections where maybe we do need to put up a stop sign, even if the warrants don't necessarily meet it. Are there other types of traffic calming measures that we can have, which we've seen in Churchill Meadows, we've seen some roundabouts, we've seen some other innovative solutions. But at the end of the day, you are driving these streets every day. These are your homes in your neighborhood. So I want to hear from you as a local councillor. What are you prepared to see implemented on your streets to hopefully have speeding reduced? The 30-kilometer-an-hour thing is an interesting concept. I think there's one of the mayoralty candidates in Toronto that's floating that idea. Sure, why not take a look at that if we think it makes some sense? I serve as a member of the Mississauga Traffic Safety Council. Even today, I was out at a school this afternoon looking at safety to determine whether a crossing guard is appropriate use or appropriate need at this particular school location. So I have on-the-ground experience looking at these kinds of things as a member of the Traffic Safety Council. And the city's established the Road Safety Committee again, and they're looking for volunteers. So please encourage you to participate.
They all sound like good ideas. I can't argue with them. I met Ryan a few weeks ago at the Sherway Street Party, and he brought this concern up, but he also confessed that, you know, it's the local neighbors that are doing the speeding. So I suggest you use your association memberships to Facebook. Please, out to these residents saying, come on, these are our kids that you run the risk of hurting. I'm not a fan of speed bumps. Emergency vehicles do not like them. What I favor instead is called rumble strips. I don't know if any of you have ever driven over these, but boy, it really wakes you up and slows you down. It's like a jackhammer at the bottom of your car. So that's a lot more effective as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Okay, now we're at the part of the program where the public get to ask questions. To answer the questions, you've got about 60 seconds, so I'll keep you guys in line on that. So.
Okay, these were from the box outside. So we sorted them all out, which we felt were the most important to get through. This is our first one. Jim Tovey's hidden skill was finding and multiplying money for his projects through matching project programs at higher levels of government. What is your hidden skill that will benefit Ward 1?
You're up first.
I'm up first.
Terry's up first.
Yeah, Jim had a knack for doing that, didn't he? I don't profess to have any hidden skill. I just have a lot of negotiation skills, relationship skills. I'm good at finding who the right person is to talk to, working my way up past the gatekeepers. So I would use that experience and knowledge to help do the same kind of deals that Jim did. Thank you.
Yeah, Jim had an excellent skill for that, and I remember being a member of Parliament, him talking to me about how the federal government should be looking at investing in a number of projects in Mississauga. And actually, the federal government I served in did invest in many projects, many infrastructure projects in the city of Mississauga, and I'm proud of that legacy. So my skill is that I know all three levels of government extremely well. I do know where to go, I do know who to talk to, I do know how to open doors. And so when we're looking at infrastructure projects, when we look at the huge opportunity that we have in these two major developments that we're going to have in Lakeview and in Port Credit, to work through the city, to work through senior levels of government, to work with the developers, to get community benefits for our community. This is going to be the work that I can do, and I can hit the ground running on day one.
Yes, Jim did have a knack at finding money at all three levels of government, and I've got to say, I also have that knack. I've got to tell you, because I've got about 35 years, 30 to 35 years worth of experience at dealing with all three levels of government, and as well, even my day job now at ASI Technologies, software development firm, I put that to good use as well in terms of helping out people, getting money. So I would look forward to, again, hitting the ground running, making sure that we get what we want in our communities. Whether it's for example, for baseball diamonds, or whether it's for our Aboriginal community, but whatever it is, there's always an innovative, unique approach to be taken, and being able to talk to people on all three levels of government and knowing how it works, I think is very important. Thank you.
Well, the question was what my hidden skill was. And it's not whether or not I can get money from all three levels of government. As somebody running a local fundraiser for the last several years, there's obviously grants that I've been applying for and working through for that. My hidden skill is being able to execute with speed. When the City of Mississauga and the Rotary Clubs were negotiating Moving Ribfest, those negotiations took place in March for an event that usually attracts over 100,000 people, has 70 different vendors, needs building permits, sanitation inspections, and electrical inspections, not to mention a waste management plan. We executed that and had it done and ready to go for July. Not only that, we didn't compromise on having our vendors hooked up to diesel. We hooked them up to electrical as we always had. We didn't compromise on doing organics recycling at our event. we did that just the same way we always had. My commitment is to use that skill for being to execute against a challenge quickly, efficiently, and without compromising any principles. Thank you.
I have to say my skill would be photography. I've been studying the environment since 2000 and looking at every little detail, right from every storm drain that feeds into the watersheds right across the GTA. It's not just Ward 1. And finding out what are the problems with our water quality that leads into the lake. So mine would be very detailed on the studying of our environment. So that would be my skill to offer to the city. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. My hidden skill is bringing people together. I've worked internationally at Canadian Solar as a planning manager, and when I was dropped off into Tokyo, I had to be able to adapt and work fast and make sure I'm proficient in Japanese. 3 years after, I understand Japanese. I'm proficient in Japanese. I was able to communicate. I was able to bring people together from diverse communities and making sure we worked fast. As a result, we had hundreds of megawatts of projects that was now up onto the Tokyo Stock Exchange, and we just came together as a group. And if elected as city councilor, I will assure that we work together to move Ward 1 forward and making sure that your voice is heard and that you are supported. Thank you.
I was trying to hide my hidden skill too well, but my colleagues, when they elected me twice to an international role to help design agendas and facilitate, told me that one of my kind of hidden talents and why they trusted me to take on that role was my ability to help facilitate meetings that generate ideas and solutions. And so that's what I would like to use. One of these ideas is around public washrooms. We have them in some places, but not everywhere. When I was at Lawton Park, door knocking and seeing people in the park, I was thinking, okay, I've got to go to the washroom, but where am I going to go? And so starting to think about that from different angles. If we're looking for funding, how do we start bringing in different stakeholders into this conversation around public washrooms? You know, families and children, they need it. Seniors need it. The homeless need it. Individuals with disease like Crohn's disease, they've actually come out calling, asking for this. Can we get more public washrooms? These are the types of things that people told me I was good at, and why they elected me 60 countries to come together and be part of that role.
Time.
Okay. How will you manage the Dixie Interchange project with regards to traffic changes and ensure cycling and transit are also improved? How will you manage the Dixie Interchange project with regards to traffic changes and ensure cycling and transit are also improved?
One of the first things I think we need is more transparency. When I've been coming to meetings to find out about childcare and elder care in condo buildings, I could not get a straight answer about where and when do I get to provide my input, where in the consultation process. So if you're asking me how do I manage it, I think we need a much more robust engagement process. Right now, it's meeting the threshold. You've got to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, and it's checking it off, but it's not really engaging people. I'm trying right now to even promote Mississauga Moves, getting people to fill out the surveys and thinking about these pieces. So when you ask how will you manage it, as your counselor, I'm going to be really pushing for the engagement. Have we heard from enough voices? Have we gone to the bar to get the information? Have we gone into the high schools to get their feedback? Have we gone into the senior centers? We need to be moving out of our traditional venues to where the people are. Have we held a consultation on somebody's street to gather this feedback? Managing this project is not just one person. And this is where I'm going to really need the community to come out and say this is what we need.
Yes, the Dixie interchange is going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be a challenge. And I know firsthand, because that's what part of what inspired me to run for city council was when my family home of 30 years was expropriated. But we definitely have to improve our transportation management plan, and we need to communicate with our homeowners association as well as our residents. So communication and engagement is key, making sure that everybody comes together and voices their concerns. So we also have to look at the interim traffic management measures. When this thing is going under construction, what are we going to do about it? It's going to cause traffic congestion, and so engaging with everybody in a stakeholder meeting or public consultation will be beneficial, and making sure that everybody comes out and voices their concern. Thank you.
I've gone to a few of the meetings out there about it, and it's really well to see how the community involves themselves in it and take part in it. One of the things that I noticed for our community is that they're already building the platforms and everything like that for the equipment, and you're already getting a huge amount of diesel, loud noises in your area already. But one of the things that I would like to see is them building the tunnels under the QEW so that you're combining your residents together and reducing the pollution as well as the traffic congestion and the dangers to the community. So it's better if we have a lot more say in our community and what's going on so that the people feel more comfortable where they live and not feeling like they're outsiders. Thank you.
The first part of the question obviously comes down to communication, and that's communication both in the traditional forms of notifying ratepayers associations, holding public meetings, but we also need to move beyond that. When we lost Rogers 10 and the opportunity to use that medium, we need to look at ways that we can replace that. Things such as live streaming those town council meetings through Facebook or other media to allow people who aren't able to attend to be able to view it later or to be able to voice their comments on it online at the same time. We have to be being a little bit more innovative about how we're reaching all of our areas and all of our neighborhoods in order to communicate these changes. And we need not to just send these notices out once or just once attached to their property taxes, because many of us lead very busy lives. And I'm sure you're not reading all the candidate cards we're leaving in your mailboxes either. Now, the second part of the question was around cycling and transit. One of the key priorities I know that I've heard at the doors is that we need to make sure when we've completed the